Do you know what this figure reminds me of when I look at her from this angle on the very first day she went on pre-order a couple of days ago? Yeah, something like that. Like, her face got smashed from many different directions. Hi and welcome back to the channel, Steven, with your weekly figure news fix this time around 11th to 16th of March 2024. We have more genuine figures this week compared to third parties, the exact opposite of last week. And as usual, we'll begin with Hobby Link Japan for the genuine stuff. I have selected the stuff I want to cover as usual. We'll start off with the highlight of the week, which is this 1x4 skill Marian from Goddess of Victory Nikke by freeing 40,000 yen coming out in January 2025. At first glance, this figure looks really impressive, but as you go through all of the pictures one by one, yeah, you will start having mixed feelings, and I am not the only one complaining about this figure. Let's face it, this figure is a good thing for the entire figure industry, especially the 1x4 skill segment, because all everyone has been doing in the past few years are bunny figures, and I have grown really sick of them, right? So this is really a breath of fresh air, and I really welcome freeing for tackling these characters in their default game outfit at least, right? But as you scroll through the picture, like, what happened to the head or the face of this figure of Marian? I know, from the front, she still looks fine. I don't know if this is a problem with converting 2D to 3D art, but by right, even in the process of converting a 2D art into a 3D object, yeah, the anterior to posterior dimensions of the head, if you get what I mean. From front to back, the dimension, it shouldn't be flatter. You know what I mean, right? So when you turn the figure around, like this picture alone, her head, her face looks weird AF. Like, I have no idea what freeing is doing over here. Yeah, from every other angle, right? Other than from the front. Even this angle from the back, I call this a quarter angle or 45-degree angle. From the back, the shape of the head is way off. Okay, from the front, as usual, you can't tell anything. And then you rotate the figure, the head starts looking weird again. Like, what is this? What is this, man? Like, oh. Do you know what this figure reminds me of when I look at her from this angle on the very first day she went on pre-order a couple of days ago? Yeah, something like that. Like, her face got smashed from many different directions. Freeing had some kind of accident in the factory, and then they decided to stick with the sculpt over here, even though it looks so deformed, it looks so weird. It is such a shame because everywhere else about this figure, every single other aspect of this figure looks incredible, right? The amount of detail, this is way above any typical bunny figure at 1x4 scale. I love this rifle behind her. Like, this is totally my kind of thing. I love girls with guns. But the head of this figure, yeah, this thing, this angle over here, to be reminded of this figure looking like this from this angle, I'm not too sure anymore. Like, I'm not the only one complaining about this, you see. People on my Facebook page mentioned the same thing in the comments. Yeah. So what do you think? Will you still pre-order this figure if you are a collector of Goddess of Victory Nikke? Will you still hit that pre-order button and pay over 40,000 yen for a smashed face? That is what I call it over here. Yeah, let me know down in comments below. The thing is that I don't think there are any other figure companies who would do Goddess of Victory Nikke characters at 1x4 scale. Yeah, there is a small chance one or two Chinese brands like Mimeyoi, for example. Mimeyoi, some of you told me it's Japanese. I'm not very sure yet. I need to check on them in more detail. But there is a chance where brands like Mimeyoi might pick up a character from Nikke, for example, if they want to do 1x4 scale. But other than Freeing and Mimeyoi, I don't see any other figure brands doing 1x4 scale Nikke figures. Yeah, other than third parties, of course. Moving on to the second one over here. This is also a surprise in a way. Okay, the not so surprising part is that Mai Sakurajima getting a re-release because she is freaking popular. So popular that, yeah, the thing is that if you are a YouTuber and you review figures on YouTube, the problem with reviewing anime figures in general is that you are covering a very small niche. Like, you are making content that is of interest to the fans of this particular character from this particular series only. So for most YouTube figure channels, their view count on figure reviews tend to not do very well, myself included, but I do it anyways. However, there are exceptions for characters that are extremely popular where the view count will skyrocket. Genshin Impact is one example, but once again, character dependent, right? If you review Mona Magisters or Keqing, yeah, the views will skyrocket. Ningguang as well. You review Barbara Peck, no one gives a F about her, right? Okay, so speaking of character popularity, Mai Sakurajima is near the top. She is not too far off from Marin Kitagawa. Marin Kitagawa is the hotter character at the moment, but she is not too far off. So, given her popularity, to see Mai Sakurajima at 1x4 skill getting a re-release is no surprise at all. 27,000 yen is a bargain at this point, because 1x4 skill nowadays, you just saw how much Marian cost, right? But the surprising part of this Mai Sakurajima figure is that freeing is being nice once in a while by keeping her stockings. Right? They did not remove the stockings. They are not trying to sell you a barrel version because screw you, you did not pre-order the very first release, so you are now left ruining your missed opportunity in the past. No, they are giving you the stockings again this time around. It is an actual re-release. So maybe I think freeing still has a bit of humanity left of some kind, like they are not completely blinded by money. Like Mai Sakurajima is not Mai without black stockings on her bunny suit. So they decided to keep it. After all, Taito AMP Plus $25 price figure has fabric stockings on her bunny figure. If freeing were to omit it, I would say that is a huge insult to this character, Mai Sakurajima. So thumbs up to freeing for keeping the figure the way it is and not changing anything. If you missed out your first chance, this is a no-brainer. Go for it, right? Normally, I am not a fan of bunny figures because they are overdone, like I mentioned earlier. But, I mean, this outfit, Mai Sakurajima in this bunny outfit, that was exactly what we saw in the anime. So, something being true to the original content, be it manga or anime adaptations or even light novel, if that actually did happen in the original source, I'm all fine with it. Yeah, black bunny suit for this figure is fine. Go for it, right? Moving on to the third 1x4 skill of the week by freeing, very cheap, 30,000 yen only. 1x4 skill B-style Chitose Summer Shine version from Azalane. Okay, so this figure is too sexy, too hot for YouTube's algorithm. YouTube's algorithm is like a teenager undergoing puberty. It couldn't stand seeing too much skin. So what can I do, right? I need to protect this channel. Anyways, I think you probably already know what this figure looks like if you are hanging out in social media for the past few days, be it X, Twitter, or Facebook, or anywhere else, right? Okay, so I'm not going to scroll through the figures over here, just the pictures over here, I mean. Just that this figure, even for an Azalane figure, it doesn't feel very impressive to me. Like, it feels a bit too fan servicey. Not that it is necessarily a bad thing, but for this specific figure, I don't feel like I'm liking it at all, right? Yeah, I guess it is all down to personal subjective taste, but at the same time, 30,000 yen for 1x4 skill is an absolute steal. So if you like her, go ahead and pre-order it. I don't think you will regret this decision, right? And yeah, there are only 3 1x4 skills this week. Moving on to the next figure, okay, from Otherware and Party Look as well. I'll explain in a second. Okay, so 1x6 skill Maki Sairenji illustrated by POPQN, which I heard is a very famous and popular artist. Okay, 20,000 yen. This is the standard version coming out in November 2024. Alright. So that ice cream she is holding is so small, I don't think that would be very satisfying. But anyways, she has her skirt stuck. Yeah, and I mean, probably this is trying to portray one of those air-headed characters where even the skirt is stuck up halfway, she is not aware of it, or perhaps she is doing it on purpose, right? Fan service once again. So this is just generic JK figure over here. The standard version can be casted off down to her undergarments, but whether her bra and underwear is removable, I'm not too sure over here. They are translucent, so I'm inclined to believe it is removable. And then the second version, they call it Deluxe Edition, only an additional 2,000 yen where you get an additional headband with those bunny ears, which I like a lot. I think this should be the one you're going for. But the problem is that I want those bunny ears, but I don't want the wall scroll, which is included with the figure, right? The problem with wall scrolls isn't that I don't collect merchandise, but rather they increase your shipping cost by a huge margin because of the length of the wall scroll. You know, it is like 90 by 60 or 80 by 60. So the length of your parcel is at least over 60 centimeters. And given that how shipping cost is based on volumetric calculation, the size of the parcel, yeah, just going for deluxe version over the standard version is going to increase your shipping cost by a huge amount. Think about that carefully before you go for the deluxe version. And curiously, there is a third version over here by Priority Look instead of Otherware. Yeah, these two companies are affiliated to each other, of course. And you are getting a third option where you get to display her completely casted off, completely hadaka. Well, not completely. She is still wearing her panties, but not her bra top. So to me, it feels a bit weird over here. Like you have standard, deluxe, and DX. Like what the heck? Isn't DX short for deluxe? Why do you have a deluxe version and a DX version? This is confusing. Like maybe even the Chinese themselves, this is from a Chinese brand, even the Chinese themselves does not understand what the word DX means. They just call it DX just because it feels premium or it feels like an expanded larger package. I don't know, but DX normally means deluxe. It is a shortened form of deluxe, right? Anyways, I don't think that the 22,000 yen version needed to exist. They just sell 20k and 26k versions only. Yeah, I'm not sure anymore. This is a bit confusing. Not just for the contents of the package. I think if you go to Ami, they will list out very clearly what is included in each version. But to have two different deluxe packaging, two different deluxe versions, that is very confusing to me at least. Yeah. Moving on to the next figure, we have Model Wei 1/6 scale Dairy Cow Sister Oko going for 7,300 yen only. And given how affordable this is, I'm inclined to believe this new figure brand is also a Chinese brand, which is very welcome, you see. I actually have two low-cost scale figures from Animaster on the way. I'm going to review them, and I'm going to compare it to more expensive scale figures as well as cheaper price figures, right? So there are like at least 3 or 4 videos planned for these cheap figures, right? So to look forward to it. Yeah, I purchased 2 in one go. They are not released in the international market yet. I got my hands on the China release version. Now back to this figure. Given how affordable this is, not to mention her face expression is just super lovely. Like there is nothing not to dislike about this figure, I would say. Yeah, if you have a bit of extra cash and you just want to expand your figure collection, yeah, pre-order it. Don't worry. Like, I have yet to come across a single Chinese figure brand that is outright horrible. Not a single one in existence yet, right? Yeah, maybe there were 1 or 2 Chinese figure brands that had QC issues, but in most cases, they admitted their fault. They issued a recall or even sent out replacement parts for those in China at least. Internationally, I'm not too sure. And for those that are not yet released to the international batch, yeah, they delayed it, right, to fix the figure. So in general, Chinese figure brands, I don't think you have to worry too much, even though it is a completely new brand like Model Wei, which has never released anything in the market. In fact, I'm inclined to believe that this is probably a branch of an existing Chinese brand already out there. Like, could be a part of Animaster, could be a part of Bear Panda, who knows, right? It is possible. So in general, yeah, the conclusion here is that don't worry, if you like the character design, by all means, go for it. This is not a huge commitment. Up next, Kaedeko illustration Miyuki Sasaki. Summer Cloud White Bikini version by Union Creative, 17,800 yen only, coming out in October. Yeah, that is pretty fast because this is a very simple figure, not many parts to paint, right, and assemble. So naturally, the figure is quite low cost. And yeah, this is non-scale, but in general, Union Creative figures are quite tall. There you go. 25 centimeters, this is about 1/7 scale, even though it is non-scale on paper. For me, yeah, this is something for the fans of the artist behind this character. For everyone else, it is just a generic swimsuit bikini figure, right? Doesn't feel any special to me. Not to mention the colors are on the bland side, like black hair, white bikini. I would love more colors in general. Moving on to the next figure over here, 1/6 scale to Love Good Darkness Risa Momioka. Darkness version by Union Creative, 18,000 yen, coming out in October as well. Now, it is really lovely that Union Creative is doing what no other figure brands are doing, maybe except Alter, is that they are committed to every single character in the To Love Ru franchise. I have complained about this like 2 or 3 times in the past, where Max Factory did a series of lingerie bride figures from To Love Ru, and then they stopped halfway when there is only one character remaining, which is Yami. They never did a figure of Yami. Yeah, I was so pissed about it that I sold my entire set of Max Factory bride figures to my friend because it felt incomplete. But one of my friends, he doesn't mind. He wants all of the figures. So there you go. They are in the hands of a new owner. And then even for, was it Amakuni? I think it is Amakuni. They did these harem gold figures of To Love Ru characters. There were like 4 characters only now. We have Nemesis, Yami, Momo, and Lala, I think. Only 4 characters, and then they just stopped there. Yeah, there were only 4 or 5 characters, and since a couple of years ago until today, there are no signs at all of new characters coming out. I think they have quit. They don't want to do anything anymore. Union Creative, in contrast, they go for characters like Yami's older sister in a way, or more like, not exactly older sister. I don't really want to spoil it for those who did not watch the series. More like the origin of her DNA, another adult version of Yami, basically. I can't remember her name. I think her name was Touhou. Union Creative was one of only 2 companies, I think, who made a figure of Touhou, and then now Risa Momioka, the only other company who made a figure of this insert or side character was Alter. Yeah, no one else did, right? I mean, Amakuni is even unwilling to do figures of Nana. After Momo and Lala, they don't even do Nana. How do you expect them to do figures of Risa or other side characters, right? So it is nice to see Union Creative being committed to this set, and it is for a good reason. They don't have any competitors anyway, right? Even though there was another character, Rune, I think. Her name was Rune, R-U-N. Yeah, that idol, green hair idol, something like that. There were no one else doing her figure as well. Only Union Creative. Even Alter did not make a figure of Rune. So Union Creative is kind of unchallenged at this point for To Love Ru figures. Just that, you know, because every single one of these figures, they are wearing the same exact outfit. I'm not a big fan of them simply because, yeah, I'll be having a set of 10 or 15 figures wearing the same exact outfit. Some people like that for consistency, but for me, it feels like too repetitive. So many figures that look exactly the same. So Union Creative's style of making these To Love Ru figures, I'm not a fan of it. I prefer Alter's approach where every single character is wearing something different with a different pose, right? Okay, moving on to the next figure. Oh, yes! QSQ FGO Lancer Melusine Second Ascension. The only problem is that 23,800 yen feels a bit too much because, yeah, FGO tax, right? It happens. Fortunately, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. The good news is that this figure is made by QSQ, and I don't think they'll repeat the same mistake they did with what was her name again? Elizabeth Battery Brave version, Saber version. I don't think they'll repeat that mistake with this figure. Not to mention there are not really any fragile looking parts on this figure of Melusine. I love her so much. I want one really badly, but 24,000 yen kind of you know, it feels overpriced for sure. Because this looks like a 20,000 yen figure to me. This is about 4,000 yen too expensive. At the same time, this is without tax, right? 23,800 yen is without tax. With tax, it is more like 26,200 yen, which is absurd, right? But Ami is giving a big discount on this figure because this is not an Ami exclusive and it is not Fat Company garbage. So they are giving this one a big discount and you can get her for slightly cheaper over at Ami. I think it was over 22,000 yen or so. Yeah. So for those of you who want this figure, maybe Ami is the better pick this time around, about 1,000 yen plus cheaper or so. For me, I'm going to wait until after release. Yeah, I will wait until after release and I do expect her price to fall a bit. There is always the risk of her price going up instead, like what happened to Kotobukiya's Astolfo. But I'm going to take that risk. I'm going to brave it and take that risk, right? As long this goes under 20,000 yen, like 18k, 19k, I would buy it, right? I love Melusine a lot as an FGO character. It is quite a shame that the other version, was it Third Ascension, the one with huge backpack and two huge lenses, the one that Fat Company is making, that one is really unfortunate that it ended up with Fat Company. I think that is going to be 40k and up, right? I would really want Alter or Amakuni or anyone else for the matter to make that figure, but not Fat Company. But unfortunately, Fat Company is responsible for that version, which is quite unfortunate, but I'm going to buy both, right? I will still get the Fat Company version despite the risk of them making garbage and slapping an Ami exclusive tag with it. And this version by Kyosuke, absolute a must-have. Yeah, I am a big fan of FGO. Alright, moving on to the next one over here from Clockworks, which is actually, they are under Good Smile Company. Like, they are their own independent company, of course, but they are covered under Good Smile when it comes to distribution, just like Fat Company and Max Factory. Okay, so this is Rin Shima from Late Back Camp, Euro Camp, about 22,000 yen. August release very fast. We are now in the middle of March and this is coming out 5 to 6 months later. Now, this is one of my favorite Rin Shima figures already. I would say top 3, but not number 1. My favorite number 1 figure of Rin Shima is still the one where she is riding on a scooter. Was that Alter? I think so, right? Yeah. The one on the scooter is my favorite, but this one over here, like, oh, look, I just bought something over here. And the pose, the setup, everything, including the desk and the chair. The whole set for 22,000 yen is very reasonable. Yeah, the diorama potential of this figure makes me like her so much. I know Plastic God holding up that sign over there, but you have the choice not to display the figure with that sign, right? Yeah, go for it. If you love Euro Camp, go for it. This is a nice figure to have. Moving on to the next skill figure over here. Okay, this must be the second or the third one already in this set. That Nip Slave Gimmick System figure by Nippon Columbia. Okay, the Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy, Regina Mercedes. 22,000 yen coming out in October. Very fast. Once again, yeah, I've spoken about this figure so many times. I don't want to repeat things too often. I want to keep the length of the video in check. This is one of those kinds of figure where you buy one, you kind of like her, you bought a second one, and then there is no going back. You need all 4 to complete the set or things look really awkward, right? So yeah, be prepared to pay more than 100,000 yen in total for 4 figures plus shipping. Moving on to the next one over here, 1x7 scale League of Legends Keda Evelyn from Apex Toys, 17,200 yen only coming out this December. Yeah, this is for LOL fans. If you love the game, you love the characters, pick one up. It is a no-brainer. Like, Apex Toys is one of the top Chinese figure brands already. They make excellent figures. Look at the paintwork over here. I love it so much. And what other options do we have when it comes to LOL scale figures? Yeah, other than Apex Toys, are there anyone else making them? I don't think so. So, yeah, I mean, it is not a bad purchase at all. Period. Right? This is really cheap for what you're getting. And as usual, Chinese companies, they give us a lot of pictures, man. Alright, moving on to the next figure right here. Okay, this is an interesting one. From Goddess of Victory Nikke. I want to say Blue Archive. From Nikke, we have Shift T. 1x7 scale by heart, sum 21,000 yen. And all they provided us with are diorama pictures, diorama photography. I'm loving every bit of these pictures over here. This is the kind of thing I would do for figure photography as a figure photographer. And the problem with this figure is that it is too expensive at 21,000 yen because it is just, a simple figure standing there with a very, you get the point. Very simple figure, simple pose, not much going on. Of course, everything in the background are not included and you are paying 21,000 yen. Surely, the paintwork, the decal work on her outfits is incredible, but I don't think this is worth more than 18,000 yen. And probably this is where regional pricing comes into play, which many Chinese figure brands they practice. Like Hobby Max is notorious for this. The very same figure from Girls Front Line, they sell it in Japanese website for 26,000 yen, but then over in China it is 1,000 Chinese yuan, which is under 20,000 yen. So you are paying 6,000 yen premium if you buy it from Japan or from any international website rather than domestic website in China, right? This is the problem with Chinese figure brands, and there is a reason why they do this, right? It is not very different from your Netflix subscription, your YouTube Premium subscription, which I am a YouTube Premium user, by the way. Or even, what else can I think of? Adobe Photoshop, for example, right? So, depending on which country, which continent you live in, the pricing is different. For example, if you pay, I don't know how much is it in the US, if you pay 40 or 50 US dollars a month for Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom package, subscription of course, but you come to Malaysia over here, our Adobe and Lightroom subscription per month is 28 Malaysian ringgit, including taxes. And 28 ringgit is about 5 or 6 US dollars. Under 6 US dollars. So you'll be paying 50-60 bucks in the US, but in Malaysia, it is a small fraction of that. And the reason for that is that, we are poor asses. Malaysians are poor, right? We can't afford anything at all because of our weak currency and our puny paycheck. Our salaries are horrible over here. Yeah. So, if a company were to charge subscription for this poor third world country, $50 a month, no one could afford it and Adobe would lose business. Like they wouldn't be able to convince people to subscribe to their service, and in the end they lose customers instead. So what they would do is to charge poorer countries, poorer people a lower amount of money, and for those of you rich people in the first world countries, in Western countries, you guys pay up more because you guys are rich. You have strong currency. So it is kind of a balancing act where, the poor pay less, the rich pay more, and then you balance it out. Originally maybe they intended to sell the program, the software for $25 a month, but they made it 50 bucks in US and 10 bucks in some other places. It balances out, right? This is exactly the same practice that is being done by Chinese figure companies, including third-party resin figures. Like, if you could get your hands on Chinese brand figures from domestic Chinese website, which is not easy because you can only communicate in Chinese, right? With the seller. So if you could get them from Chinese website, especially Taobao, for example, not AliExpress, by the way. AliExpress is international, right? I mean domestic, which is like Taobao. You can get these Chinese brand figures for way cheaper most of the time. That includes resin figures. But for everyone else who does not communicate in Chinese and don't know how to use this website, you are completely out of luck. That is the unfortunate part. Unless you have a Chinese friend who can help you out, of course. Now, back to this figure over here, I am very certain that this figure is way cheaper in China. Maybe 16,000 yen, 17,000 yen ballpark over there, right? And Hatsam, I'm confident this is a Chinese brand because the sculpt, the artist behind this character over here, this shifty figure over here is made by Astrum Design. So in this specific case over here, two possibilities. Either Hatsam is a Chinese brand which is under Astrum Design itself, like a different branch or a different team, Or maybe Astrum Design is just licensing out their character designs to other figure brands to make figures of. Yeah. Very nice figure. I love it. But 21,000 yen is a bit too much for this figure. Yeah. Moving on to the next figure, another original character, a very lovely one. I love the character design on this so much. Like, I am a big fan of female characters or women with this kind of hairstyle. Short, but, you know, like this kind of haircut. I don't know how to describe it, but this is totally my kind of thing. Yeah. So 1/6 scale naughty policewoman illustration by Shela77. Okay, limited edition figure with bonus, which in this case is actually a postcard. Right, this figure is partially cast offable. I believe you get to swap parts partially, like you get to expose her top but not the bottom, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the deluxe version or bonus version, 21,000 yen, standard version 20,000 yen. Yeah, only 1,000 yen difference. I think Hobby Sakura is just being consistent over here. Like every figure they put on pre-order, they need to have two versions. Because a difference of 1,000 yen, I don't think it is significant enough of a difference to make people choose between the two. And it is a postcard this time around, not a wall scroll, like a small printed card over here. It wouldn't affect your shipping cost, you see, unlike wall scrolls with their huge dimensions. So I don't understand why there would be two different versions of this figure. It feels unnecessary. The only reason I could think of is, yeah, they wanted consistency. Like every figure they make has to have two different versions, which in this case, since the difference is only 1,000 yen, maybe go all the way for the deluxe variant. Yeah. Since it won't affect your shipping cost anyway, this is a very lovely figure. This is perhaps one of my favorite figures of original characters by Hobby Sakura yet so far. Yeah. Moving on to the next figure, 1/7 scale Natsume Eri by Furyu, coming out in December. No origins, nothing. Is this an original character? Let me know down in the comments below. 25,000 yen. Because character design wise, right, this doesn't feel like an original character to me. It feels more like a VTuber character in a way, but I can't be sure. But since the origin is not mentioned over there, it could be anything else. But my first guess over here is a virtual celebrity of some kind, be it a VTuber or something else, right? Okay, 25k feels okay given the entire package of this figure. I love that cat over there. Very cute. Furyu, please don't mess up the figure, right? Furyu has been rather inconsistent lately in the past 12 months or so. This is a very nice figure to have. Please don't screw it up. Oh, that face expression. You see, I wasn't aware of this face expression at all until now. Yeah, this could be a valid reason to buy this figure. Like, there are no other scale figures with this face expression, I think. No. Nendoroids maybe, yes, but not scale figure. Let's move on to the next one over here. Okay. You know, I'm not very active on Twitter or X, by the way. I'm still not used to calling Twitter X, you see. I wonder if I should start posting more pictures of these figures, especially characters like this, so that I can attract the attention of social justice warriors. Because, you know, getting attention from them is actually a good thing. Even though you receive a ton of hate comments, yeah, you're just getting free publicity out of it. Okay, yeah, for sure. If this figure was made by Good Smile Company, they posted it in their Instagram, for example, you'll see a lot of hate in the comments, right? But this is by virtually a nobody, Kaitendo. Yeah, I'm sorry if I offended you guys, Kaitendo, for calling you guys nobody. If you're someone from your company is watching this, but yeah, they are quite a nobody in the world of anime figures. Only us old school figure collectors in the hobby for the past 10 years, we know who Kaitendo is. They have been around for a very long time, right? I don't know that much about this company, but what I do know is that their figures are mostly B tier to C tier, not very good. Yeah, that is the unfortunate part. This is 1/6 scale, but given this is a loli character, she is not very huge. Kana from Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, 21,000 yen. Right, that is a very small discount over there. Kana does not get many figures, not many scale figures. I remember Furyu made it, and I think there are a few. I think Good Smile also made one. There are quite a few figures of her. Even bad figure brands like Fox in Japan made a figure of her, you see. So she is actually relatively popular for both good and bad reasons. Now, as you guys can tell from these pictures already, this is not a very detailed figure, right? Like, very plain and simple. 21,000 yen, I think it feels okay. It feels appropriate for this figure. Not too cheap, not too expensive either, but look at the face over here. What do you think? You see, I don't think I will be able to give this figure a fair assessment because I'm not a big fan of Kobayashi's Maid Dragon despite the popularity. Never liked the series even though I did watch all of it, right? So there may be a bit of bias inside of me, so I won't be able to say whether I like the face or not of this figure, but I would say 21,000 yen is somewhat reasonable. Neither too cheap, not too expensive, just that this is Kaitendo we are talking about. Don't have too high of an expectation if you were to decide to pre-order this one. Moving on to the next one. Oh, you know, I posted a joke, a meme of this figure in my X, in my Twitter, and also my Facebook. But I don't think I am willing to do the same thing on Twitter because who knows what YouTube's algorithm, which is undergoing puberty, thinks about that joke. Like, is it too inappropriate for them? But I love the character design of this character here so much. Original character, 1/6 scale Adventurous Guild Girls, autonomous doll Bamiya illustration by Kanko. 24,000 yen, very nice price for a 1/6 scale figure coming out this October by Nocturnus, right? Okay, Nocturnus is Japanese brand, confirmed, and for this figure, I find the upside down bikini to be really interesting because the closer you look, the more carefully you look, it is starting to look like a pair of asses being stuck on her chest. Yeah, try to imagine a pair of butts with bottom bikini, 2 sets on the chest. Yeah, that was what I immediately noticed when I saw Nocturne posted an early picture of this figure on their X or Twitter, right? That was the first thing that came to mind, and I made a meme out of it. People loved it. But regardless of the really weird but very lovely design of her outfit, yeah, if you love the character design over here, which I certainly do, this is a very good buy at 1/6 scale. 24k only. And especially this photograph over here. Oh, yeah, Adventurous Guild, giving off those vibes over there. I love it so much. Yeah. There was someone who commented on my post of this figure saying that why do men love giant TDs like that on anime figures? Well, certainly not me, right? Yeah, a lot of figure collectors both in China and Japan, they love figures like this for some reason. Not me though. I prefer medium is premium in a way. Okay, moving on to the next figure over here. Man, I'm talking a lot today for every single figure I cover. Okay, this is Flandre Scarlet Symphony version from Touhou Project by Kyoskyo, 22,800 yen. You know, this figure initially it felt really familiar, like, isn't this out already? But apparently no, this is indeed the first time this figure went on pre-order. But I feel like some other brand has done a very similar figure before. Yeah. I'm not the only one saying this, by the way. Once again, someone in my Facebook comments said the same thing. This is by Kyoskyo, almost 23,000 yen coming out this October. Once again, very fast. And boy, do I love Kyoskyo's paint work on this figure so much. Like, especially her dress, the red dress. Red color dress, but the very edges over there, it is fading into purple, grayish kind of thing. And underneath, it is blue-violet color. Like, that paint work over there, that is my favorite part about this figure. Certainly. Oh, even the spear, man. Is that a spear or sword? A sword. Anyways, the paint work on this figure, this is the Kyoskyo I know, right? It is, I still feel very salty about how they messed up Elizabeth Battery. Yeah, that figure was defective. Many people received that figure with a broken tail. Let's hope the wings on this figure does not break in the box. Hey, Kyoskyo, please, I beg you guys to separate the wings, separate compartment in the box. Don't stick it onto the figure permanently because during shipping, they are going to break. Just like what happened to Elizabeth Battery's tail, right? Separate the parts, please. Moving on to the next figure over here, we have Sakuya Izayoi Scarlet Symphony version from Touhou Project. This is only 1/8 scale, unfortunately. A re-release by Kyoskyo, almost 17,000 yen out in October. That is very fast as well. Now, this is not the Touhou I know. Like, the character design is very different. Presumably, like a different art style from a different artist. And normally, I am a big fan of P-type woman. Like, yeah, up there, down there, not too big, but there is some shape, you know. I like P-type or slender women, but this is way too much. This is too anorexic. Especially her legs, way too skinny. Like, I think even it is the size of my arm, I think. I'm not too sure. Her legs over there. So this is not my kind of thing. Fortunately, with Touhou, I think there are quite a number of choices out there for collectors, in case you don't like this one. I certainly am not a fan of this figure of Sakuya. Moving on to the next one, re-release again. Okay, Kotobukiya's 1/8 scale Forte of the Devoted Rage of Bahamut. Okay, this is 17,000 yen. One of the best bargains this week. Okay, this may be 1/8 scale, but trust me, shipping cost is going to murder your wallet on this figure. This is massive, right? This is as big as Dark Angel Olivia, despite being 1/8 scale. It feels more like a 1/7. And not just any 1/7. It feels like Alta's 1/7 scale Nanoha figures, you know, those are massive. Purple Heart, Black Heart, those are massive figures at 1/7 scale. Gen Diak Alta as well. Now, this figure is the better buy compared to Dark Angel Olivia, which I absolutely despised. Like, I used to own that figure of Dark Angel Olivia. That figure had support issues because it was too heavy despite standing on one leg only, and there are no additional support, no metal foot pegs on that one. Now, I don't expect Kotobukiya to listen to my complaints and add metal foot pegs to this figure, but at least this figure of Forte over here, she is standing on both legs. Both legs are plugged into the base, so you are less likely to encounter any structural or support issues. So I would rather you buy this one over looking for a figure of Dark Angel Olivia. It is not worth it, trust me, right? This one, however, this is a steal. Even though this huge and heavy figure does not have metal foot pegs, I don't think it matters as much for this specific figure over here. Moving on to the next figure. Okay, 1/7 scale Nijika Izichi. Oh, that's a mouthful for me to pronounce. Nijika Izichi. Okay, from Bocchi the Rock by Good Smile, only 14,300 yen, coming out in January next year. I brought this issue up in a previous video as well. I think it was One Fest video. It takes Good Smile almost a year to get something this simple out. Obviously, they are making too many figures. Yeah. But when you think about it, right, are there anyone else making figures from Bocchi the Rock except Hitori Goto? I think no one else are making figures of the side characters, the support characters, right? Anyways, this is pretty cheap. Be patient and wait for her if you want one. It is worth it. Moving on to the next three figures, we have pop-up rates. Hosho Marine re-release, not surprised at all. This thing went up all the way to 10 or 12,000 yen shortly after release. Yeah, double or more. And please do not buy this figure at 10,000 yen. It is a really stupid thing to do. It is a foolish thing to do because the quality control on this figure of Hosho Marine wasn't great. I reviewed it on this channel. Go and check out my pop-up rate reviews. You get to see how this figure is like. You know, the gold color stripe on her head over there, the gold color decals, they are completely misaligned in my copy of this figure when I reviewed it, the first release back then. Yeah, I was unhappy with it, right? But you can always look for the overpriced and inflated market value skill figure by Good Smile anyway, if you have the moolah to spend. Now, for everyone else waiting for a re-release, let's pray that Good Smile fixes the quality control of this figure of Marine, because I wasn't happy with her, with the previous copy. Yeah, the previous release, right? The second Hololive figure to get a re-release, Usada Pekora, not surprised at all. But the interesting part is that they are now labeling the figure as 1/12 scale. It does feel bigger to me. To me, it feels more like a 1/10 to me, not 1/12. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Scales barely mean a thing in anime figures. They are very inconsistent. This is a way better figure than Hosho Marine figure earlier. For one, it was made by Max Factory. Yeah, the one I reviewed on this channel, I did review her as well, was fairly well made, but there were people out there who bought this figure who also complained about quality control issues. Not on painting. I think there were some parts that broke very easily on the leg, I think, if I remembered correctly. But this figure wasn't free from issues either, right? Yeah, I was pretty happy with this figure back then. So if you missed out your chance, yeah, once again, pre-order it. This is worth it. The third Hololive figure, Sakura Miko, which is actually my least favorite among the three, just because, character design preferences. Sakura Miko is also by Max Factory, and my copy, which I also reviewed on this channel back then, was pretty good as well. Once again, Max Factory, right? Just that I did not have the impression where Sakura Miko is as popular as Marine or Usada Pekora. Yeah, enlighten me please. I'm not very familiar with VTuber. Like, I don't follow celebrities. I don't chase after celebrities in general, no matter how pretty or how hot they are, right? Be it 2D or 3D. Okay, so this one, if she is getting a re-release, that means she is popular enough, right, to have the demands over there. Alright, moving on to the next one, we have pop-up rate Farlin from Delicious in Dungeon Meshi, 4,000 yen, September release. You know what? I'm starting to feel like he looks a lot like Oberon from FGO. Yeah, a prize figure of Oberon was just released very recently, and that is probably why I'm drawing some similarities over here. Not my kind of figure. Moving on to the next one over here, pop-up rate Guards from Berserker Armor L size. Okay, from Berserk, re-release again, 8,000 yen. Now, I know that Berserk is very popular, immensely popular, just that I did not know that it is to this level where they had to re-release it. Yeah. 8,000 yen for something of 1/7 skill. Absolutely. Buy it if you like Berserk. Moving on to the next two figures, re-release as well, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Adorable Arts, Cloud Strife by Square Enix. That is the bad news. Square Enix. Like, they are an absolute joke at this point. Right? I also posted a meme. Was it a week or two ago, comparing, it was more like a stolen picture. I get it. Yeah. It was a stolen picture from Twitter or X. It was a post comparing Square Enix and Mieto's figures, where the Square Enix figure was like $60 and it looked like absolute trash, while the $30 Mieto's figure, gift plus by the way, looked so much better. Yeah. Actually, the person who posted that, they do have a point, right? So Square Enix, 7,000 yen for something tiny, maybe not, don't, right? Buy third parties instead for these characters, Final Fantasy. Same thing applies to this figure of Arif over here. No, don't touch it. And the last genuine figure on HLJ for this week, Digstar Yakuza Kazuma Kiryu. Oh, Kazuma, okay, Yakuza Kazuma. I thought it was the Kazuma from Tekken, but no, this isn't it. Okay, by DIG Dick. 8,000 yen, September release. Not my kind of thing, but if you know something about the character, hey, take a look at this figure. Okay, and that is all for figures on pre-order this week on HLJ. There was 1 or 2 Harry Potter figures, which I don't think it is relevant to you guys, so I'm not covering it. Those are by Prime 1 Studio, right? I covered it in the previous weeks, but I don't think it is necessary. Now, moving on to Ami, there are no new Ami exclusives this week, but curiously, there is this figure of Nejire Hado by Spiritiel, 1/7 skill, for 25,000 yen. This figure went on pre-order last Saturday, right? Which was way past my recording time for my weekly figure news fix, which is why I'm covering it today. Yeah, almost a week later. The weirdest part about this figure is that she is not on HLJ. I tried searching for this figure on Hobby Link Japan just to see what is the price difference in comparison, and no, it is not on sale on HLJ somehow a week after she went on pre-order, even though this is not an exclusive item. I don't know what is happening. Maybe HLJ has not been able to find a supplier for this figure yet, so they are not yet listing it. Who knows? Now, this face expression over here, this could be the best reason to buy this figure, to pre-order her. Yeah, I'm not a fan of BNHA. I made this clear so many times. I have never been a fan of shonen anime in general, right? The only two shonen anime I watched all the way to the end was, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. Oh, 3 of them. The second one was Law of Ueki, and the third one was, what was the name again? Can't remember anymore. Never mind, doesn't matter. I don't want to waste any time further. Okay, moving on to Ninin game next. As usual, check out those edgy figures by Insight and Beeful, which I can't put on screen. There are many of them this week, by the way. Now moving on to figures that I can put on screen. Okay, original character lead community chairperson Risa Shimizutani, 1/6 skill by Beeful and Forts, Japan, 20,000 yen. There is only one single version of this figure, no second 1/4 scale version. 20k is very cheap, yeah. I don't think I want to scroll through the picture. I guess you can already see this figure very clearly. Oh no, this is not a cast-offable figure, unfortunately. But the material PMMA is quite fragile, so I'm not too surprised that you can't cast off unless, they decided to give you extra parts to swap, right? I have been scrolling through every single picture. No, this is not cast-offable at all, but it is only 20,000 yen, by the way. Moving on to the second figure over here, Creators Collection, original character, Self-Fit Girl, 1/6 skill, Tapestry Set Edition by Hot Venus and Native, 35,000 yen. I think the actual price is probably only 30 or 31,000 yen. It is not that expensive. Ninin game, they usually charge a 4,000, 5,000 yen premium because these are exclusive items. Of course, I can't go through the pictures for obvious reasons. Now, the pose of this figure, I love it a lot. It reminds me of that escalator girl from Native many years ago. I have always wanted that figure back then, but in the end, I did not buy it simply because of budget issues. I had other priorities. Is it because it is too lewd? No, doesn't matter. Even if my mom sees that figure, she wouldn't bat an eye, right? Yeah, I'm fortunate enough that my sister, my mom does not care, does not mind all these edgy figures, yeah. Moving on to the next one over here. Okay, there are 2 different versions of this figure, more like 4 versions. I'm covering 2 of them over here. Original character, Chibi Succubus Estia-chan, 1/4 skill version by Beeful. Forts Japan for 27,000 yen. This is all you get. This is not customable. And there is a 1/6 or 1/7, 1/6 version for 17k, right? And then there is another set for the same price, 17k, 27k price, where she is completely casted off Hadaka. Yeah, can't put on screen. And that is all for genuine figures on pre-order this week. Now we move on to third-party resin figures making use of OSGK. For figures I'm about to cover in today's news, there are affiliate pre-order links down in the descriptions below. Make use of it if you're interested in any of the resin figures over here. Okay, before we move on to the figures on pre-order this past week, there are 3 news I would like to cover over here, which is somewhat related, right? Okay, the first one over here, this figure, which about 2 or 3 weeks ago I covered it twice. This ZH Studio Spy Family Chainsaw Man Anya figure was initially a stolen art item. Yeah, this was stolen art, and then the artist commented on my page. Of course, I took down the pre-order links because I respect the artist, and then somehow ZH Studio behind the scenes have worked out an agreement, a contract with the artist of this figure, and now she is back on pre-order. For those of you interested, as you can see, OSGK is saying it authorized by the artist. Very nice. So down here, among the images over here, wow, see, they made it bold and red to make sure you guys understood that this is authorized by the original artist. The authorization letter has been uploaded on the product page, right? Complete with the signature for everyone to see. This is very nice. Ohome Gamboa author-licensed ZH Studio artwork for statue development. This is perhaps the very first time I have seen something so transparent between an artist and the figure company. Yeah, this is quite a breath of fresh air in a way. Very nice to see that. Okay, now moving on to the bad news. This figure over here, Hourglass Studio Fate Stay Night Black Veil Saber Outer, by the way, this is stolen art. right? Once again, thank you so much for alerting me when I posted this picture on my Facebook page. Someone immediately, within hours, sent me a picture of the original art from the artist. The original art was actually white color dress, but other than the different color, obviously this is like 100% stolen. All they did was changing the color, So I still regard it as stolen art instead of fair use, right? If you copy somebody else's art, right, you copy the same exact pose, but you change the character or you change the outfit, for example, then maybe that is fair use, that is not stealing because you can't copyright a pose, for example. But this case over here, this is obviously stealing, like exactly same character, same outfit as well, same pose, everything is the same except for color, right? So please don't buy this one unless it is being authorized by the artist, of course. And the third news for today, OzGK has started taking pre-orders for figures from Native. Yeah, all those Native exclusive items which until just barely a month ago, you could only get it from Native Store or Ninin Game and pay a premium for it, or Big in Jap and pay full upfront, right? There were not many options to get these figures. And then about 2 weeks ago, Ami started taking pre-orders for some of these figures in their adult section website. But what you guys need to know about Ami's adult section is that anything you buy from that section in their website, you cannot use PayPal as a payment method, right? You can only use normal credit card payments because PayPal, they do not like to be associated with those kind of products. On this website, OzGK, can you use PayPal to pay for these edgy figures? I do think you can in this particular case, right? Like maybe they have a different set of rules, or maybe they have a way to get around all these rules set by PayPal. But I haven't heard of any issue of anyone paying with PayPal when they buy all these edgy Hadaka figures from third parties, right? So I would assume that you can. Now, the slight bad news over here is that they are not any cheaper than Ninin Games pricing when it comes to Native Store figures, right? For example, this figure over here I covered in last week's news. This was 35,000 yen or 38,000 yen from what I heard in Native Store. And Ninin Game was selling it for 45,000 yen because of them charging a premium for anything exclusive. But after converting from US dollar into Japanese yen, OzGK is no different. They're asking for 45,000 yen for this figure as well. And another example over here, this is 77,000 yen, which is 1,000 yen more expensive than Ninin Game. So why would you buy from this website, right? Depends where you live. You see, for example, for me living in Malaysia, for example, if I were to get this figure, Ninin Game 76,000 yen, OzGK 77,000 yen, I would get it from OzGK. And the reason being, shipping from China to Malaysia is a lot cheaper, like a few thousand yen cheaper than shipping from Japan to Malaysia. So you need to factor in the shipping part, right? Personally, of course, I don't know if shipping from Japan to US is cheaper than from China to US, but in case you have experience buying stuff from both countries, you would know which site is cheaper. So don't just focus on the pricing of the products over there. You need to think about which site the shipping is cheaper, right? So in my case, if I were to get this pair of figures over here, I would get it from OzGK instead of from Ami or Ninin Game. Yeah. Okay, now we move on to the actual third-party resin figures on pre-order this week. Not too many. The first one over here, like what the F is this? I mean, I guess I can give them 100 marks for being creative, for being original, but I'm not sure if anyone wants to buy anything like this. Anyways, from Cute Studio, we have Original Monster Encyclopedia 1.0 Slime Mate CC. Okay, $183 US. You know, this figure reminds me of the H anime that came out barely a month ago. There was this pink color slime which can turn into any waifu you want. Yeah, reminds me of that quite a bit, but why would I want something like this? I'm not too sure. Moving on to the next one from Stereoscopic Delusion Studio with Genshin Impact Eula Lawrence. Okay, $191 US and 1/6 scale. Yeah, the pricing is okay for this one, right? You know, with these third-party figures, sometimes I would like to give them more coverage, but then they make the figures with so little clothes on, I can't even scroll through the pictures without getting into trouble. Behind this figure, it is completely exposed, nothing at all. Like, what kind of design is this for a swimsuit? But anyways, this is realistic face, no thank you. Right? Wonderful Works is making a scale figure of her, announced it more than a year ago, and there has been no progress since then. Like, every figure company hates Genshin for some reason. Moving on to the next one, we have Kamisato Ayaka cute version from 97 Studio, $79 US. Alright. I don't like this one. Like, the few Genshin cute figures by CR Studio, Klee and Hotao, they were amazing. I saw the actual product. They were really well made. This Kamisato Ayaka, I don't know. I don't like the face on this one. I feel like I'm looking at the Disney character somehow. Moving on to the next one, another crossover. Anya has so many crossovers in the third party. Wawa Studio Spy Family Anya number 2 card captors Anya, $107. Now this crossover is very nice. Like, to me, Anya crossing over with Chainsaw Man was really weird. Like, they don't blend very well. At least that was my opinion. But to put Anya with Card Captor Sakura, I think it makes a bit more sense. But still, I don't think I like the face at all. The face looks pretty weird over here, don't you think? Yeah. Maybe it is just me, I don't know. But the face from this angle looks a bit odd. From the front, it looks better. Maybe it is just because of the hair, you know, like flying up because of the wind. I think Sega recently had a prize figure of Anya acting as a spy, holding an alien-shaped pistol, which was really adorable. I was thinking of getting one. Now, moving on to the next one, this is a surprise. Like, wow, people still remember Akame ga Kill, right? And this is a 1x4 scale. There are no 1x4 scale figures of Akame out there by Camp Studio. Okay, now my recommendation is to go for the $344 version. Yeah, this one right here. This is the anime version. For once, the standard version is the anime version. The deluxe version, which is $413, includes the realistic head. And I would say stay away from it. It looks terrible. Like, what is this, man? Is this even Akame? This looks horrid. Like, like, seriously, how can you convert that anime face over there into that abomination on the left? They are not the same thing at all, right? I know Chinese figure collectors, they prefer realistic looking anime or game statues because that is what a lot of characters in their Chinese dynasty MMORPG games look like. The characters are like that, but still, please, this is an absolute train wreck, the realistic version, right? So save that $70. If you want Akame in 1x4 scale, go for the standard version at $344 US. This is the only 1x4 scale figure of Akame in existence that I can think of. Yeah. Moving on to the next resin figure over here. Okay, we have two One Piece figures over here, and oh, surprise, there are no Boa Hancock or Yamatos this week. Yeah, so here we have Jewelry Bonnie from PZ Studio, $119 at presumably 1x6 scale. Let's have a look. Yeah, 1x6 scale. Okay. Bonnie does have quite a number of figures as well. Like, yeah, not as many as Boa Hancock, of course, but she does have quite a few options out there. 23.5, is that even 1x6? Is she a tall or a short character? 23.5 feels more like a 1x7 rather than 1x6. But anyways, she is only $120 US. Oh, I love the texture on her jacket as usual. Alright, moving on to the next one over here. Face Studio Egghead Nami. Alright, basically Nami, right? $139 US at 1x7 scale. So this is a taller figure, but 1x7 scale. What is going on? Anyways, this feels a bit like a crossover. There we go. I knew it. I just covered that other figure a couple of weeks ago. This feels like a BNHA crossover with One Piece somehow. It feels like a crossover, but quite attractive nonetheless. Moving on to the next one. Okay, someone commented in my video last week saying that I might have missed out on Arctic Wolf Studios Sparkle from Honkai Star Rail. Yeah, it happens, right? Because there are so many figures going on pre-order every week, and there is a possibility where I might miss out on 1 or 2 figures. It happens. Yeah. Okay, so this is actually $239 at 1/6 scale, the one you are looking at, this picture over here. Version B is something, Leo, so I'm not putting it on screen, go and check it out yourself. And then you ask for my opinion, what do I think about Arctic Wolf Studios Sparkle, right? My favorite one is still the one by Epsim Studio. Yeah, the one with that giant base at the back. Understandably, that is not something everyone will like because it feels like paying $100 for a base. Like, it feels overkill, I understand that. But between this one and the third figure of Sparkle, what was the brand again? I can't remember. I think was it Hunyo Studio, I think. They do both 1/4 and 1/7. It really depends whether you want 1/6 or 1/4. I think the one by Hunyo Studio is more worth it if you go for 1/4 scale because she is having a very simple pose, wearing swimsuit, right? Like, it is a simpler figure. So for simple figures, I have a tendency to go towards larger size, right? Because they don't take up much space. I think space is the most important part. Like, simple figures like freeing 1/4 scale figures, they don't take up much space actually because they are relatively simple. Yeah, you get the point. Meanwhile, for this one by Arctic Wolf and Miyin Studio, both are really good third-party figure brands, by the way. They make great figures. This one is more to the kind of figure where I would recommend to someone who wants figures with a more dynamic pose. They want action pose. They want all of their figures to be kung fu fighting in some way. Then this is for you. Dynamic pose figures, they can look really amazing when displayed together, but they take up a lot of space, right? Figure like this is no exception. So you need to think about it like a simple 1/4 scale figure might take less space than something like this at 1/6 scale. For myself, yeah, I'm too poor to afford all 3. I'll have to choose one at some point, and I'm leaning towards the one by Epsim Studio. But at the same time, I don't want to buy too many figures from the same company because I want to diversify and see for myself as many figure companies as possible what their quality is like. So this is the tough part because Epsim Studio makes a lot of figures which I want, but I can't just stay loyal to one figure brand as a content creator. That is the rough part. Okay, moving on to the next one over here from Arctic Wolf Studio as well. This one was pretty popular when I posted it on Facebook. Teresa Starlit Astrologos from Honkai Star Rail, Honkai Impacted. I'm saying Star Rail out of habit over here. Okay, so I don't think this is customable. I might be wrong though. I'm not scrolling through the pictures over here. But there are 2 versions. The white silk version, which is what you're looking at. There are white stockings on her legs. And there is a barefoot version. Yeah. Oh. This is going to make those who love feet very happy. Okay, let's give it a try. I'll scroll through the pictures and see what we get over here, right? I don't think this is customable at all, no. But that shouldn't be a prerequisite for anyone to buy a figure. Like, don't be so horny. Yeah. This is a must-have for Honkai Impacted fans. There are not many skill figures from this franchise, right? Not many. Even among the genuine figures, I think Apex Toys is leading the charge, but not many other brands pick up on characters from this game. Moving on to the next one, yeah, Kafka. We seem to have a figure of her every week as well from Honkai Star Rail. Now this one feels really expensive and 1/6 scale regular version $279 and deluxe version $329 where you're getting Hadaka version. Yeah, just part swapping, right? Or maybe even 2 entire figures, who knows. The thing is that with this figure, I have a bit of a mixed feeling. The good news is that the face looks very attractive. Like, this is top 3 best looking Kafka face I've seen among third-party resin figures, and that is saying a lot. Yeah, I love the face so much over here. The problem is that, yeah, this is $279, which feels pretty expensive for a 1/6 scale. I mean, if they can get the face done right, I have no complaints, right? But Who knows? I don't know Moss Studio, and that is the problem. If they can get the face done right, then this figure is a very good purchase. I mean, look at the details on her outfit. Oh, I love Kafka figures in this original game outfit design. I just love it, man. Yeah, I don't mind this figure being simple at all in terms of the pose. If the face is exactly like this is an excellent buy, but what do you think? Right? Moving on to the next one from Yuking Studio, we have Makima from Chainsaw Man. Yeah, this is a very cheap 1x4 scale figure for a good reason. There are not much details, right? Just plain white shirt. The one you're looking at, shirt version, is $280 only for 1x4. Sounds like a good buy if you don't mind lesser details. The underwear version, which I am not clicking on, she is wearing literally strings only. Like, just strings covering her, even though they are calling it underwear version. This is more like birthday suit version, right? So if you go for the high-end version, which you're getting parts for both versions, it is only $316. So it is not a bad idea to buy the high-end version, but if you're trying to save every dollar, I would say that shirt version is a better buy. The next figure here, oh, there are so many memes surrounding this character. For those of you who love lolis. Okay, Nahida from Genshin Impact by SC Studio. This is 1x4, by the way. Regular version is going for $191 only. $191 for 1x4 scale. Yeah, this is a small figure, but still, this is an absolute bargain. If you don't mind her face not looking like Nahida at all, yeah, this feels like a fan art version, like an artist drawing that character in his or her own style. It feels that way to me. This doesn't look like the Nahida I know at all, but still, if you are dry enough, you want a very steamy hot lolly among a collection, then pick one up. This is only $191. Or you go for the EX version where you can have her completely Hadaka. For $322 only. So which one would be your pick? Oh, I would absolutely love to see the reactions from SJWs to figures like this, man. Moving on to the next one over here, Taimanin RPG again, right? Uehara Rin in Racing Suit by ACY Studio, 1x4 scale. Okay, version A. The one you're looking at is version A, $272 only. $272 for 1x4 scale, you might want to consider it. For me, a big no, because I hate male figures with giant jugs and giant backsides. Not my kind of thing, despite how cheap this is. Version B is something I can't put on screen given how she is completely exposed for like $191 or so, if I remembered correctly. Buy both for $496. That is up to you. My personal recommendation, buy either one. I don't think you need both unless you are a hardcore fan of Uehara Rin. Yeah, those big saggy papayas are not my kind of thing at all. And the last figure for this week, this is the hottest third-party resin item this week. I have already sold a few via my affiliate links in my Facebook page because of how popular this thing is. Like, when I posted this figure on my page, this thing went viral. It is my most popular post this past week, right? For a very good reason, because very few people watched the anime, The Dangers in My Heart. Season 2 in a way is currently ongoing but ending soon. I mean, this is very fresh. It feels fresh. Since when was the last time you saw a third-party resin figure taking an anime character, a seasonal one, this seriously, and making a figure that everyone wants, right? This is something so fan-servicey that you could say that it is guaranteed no genuine figure brands are going to make a figure of Anna Yamada like this, right? So for those of you who love her, pick one up before you regret it. Pre-order it, yes. And for those of you who buy this figure of Anna Yamada, you are going to deal with the dangers in your pants. Yeah, not just in your heart. This is a good buy, right? $191 at 1x6 scale. Yeah, and there are two versions, bikini version, and the other one is basically completely Hadaka, which I don't recommend. I would say go for the one in bikini version. Yeah, I think it looks a bit better, but in the end, I'll leave it to you to decide which one to go for. And that is all for figures on pre-order this week, 11th to 16th of March 2024. Well, I ran my mouth a lot this week for each of the figure I covered. But anyways, which one will you pre-order this week? Let me know down in the comments below. A lot of nice stuff for me even this week, right? My number one figure is of course Melusin from FGO. Everything else, yeah, we'll see. Until then, if you enjoyed today's video, give this video a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe to this channel for more content like this every week. Until then, I'll see you guys again soon. Goodbye.